I don't have a lot of regrets, but my biggest life regret is not having children. I got married. I think I was 29. The only time we had sex was when I was ovulating.
So that again, not an excuse to cheat or do anything against your mate or spouse, but man, it's tough out there now because you just can open your phone and see 7,000 different women in 7,000 different positions, poses, toes, breasts, whatever you like, you can get it. You know what I mean? So it's tough, man.
Sex is often a chore for women. When we don't have the desire to roll over to the side or climb on top, it's looked at as a form of rejection. And now, our husband or our man, he feels, he has to go outside the home to fulfill all his needs and stuff. And, wives don't like that.
What's up, everybody? My name is Mel, and welcome to Life Coaching by Mel. Here at Life Coaching by Mel, we speak truth regarding the nuclear family. And if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get each and every one of my videos. Hit that like button for me. Hit me in that comment section. Today is going to be an invigorating conversation that I know you want to contribute to. And be sure to share this with at least one person. Let's get into today's topic. Next question here. In almost 4 decades between 1970 and 2008, the divorce rate has more than doubled globally. From 2.6 divorces for every 1,000 married couples to 5.5. Sound like around y'all age group. Sound like it's y'all fault. But I want to ask, why are Gen X marriages failing? We're going to start with Bridget on this one.
Well, I think Gen X marriages are failing. I think, and don't get me wrong, but I think there's a lot of cheating going on. So there's a lot of divorcing going on because of that. And I think people just sometimes get bored, and instead of them watering their own grass, they look at what's greener. And then once they realize it's greener because it's fake, it's too late. I think a lot of that is going on with our Generation X. I do. Like I'm single, so I've met a lot of men that have been married all of their life and they're newly divorced and they're just hot in the pants. They just want to do everything. And it's like, because they're divorced because they cheated, because they got bored. They wanted to experience something new. It's cheating, which I'm not necessarily saying that cheating is should be a means for divorce. It depends on. I think you and I talked about this, Mel, in one situation. It depends on the situation. But people aren't having conversations. They're not communicating. They're not telling each other what they need and what they want from each other. So they just go out and fill a void with someone else.
Yes. Yes.
Right there at home, what you can trust, what you have loved. A lot of times people, I think in a marriage, you may fall in love, out of love, in love, out of love. But you got to remember why you fell in love with that person in the beginning, why you married this person in the beginning, and work on that. Go back to the root of the relationship and not just say, oh, forget it. Let me go over here real quick. And then that person turns out to be the devil. Nobody is watering their own grass. They're just going for something new, and it's new, but it ain't good.
Good stuff. DeMarcus.
Bridget, that's an amazing point. I was going to actually piggyback off your communication piece because that's so true. Communication is the key, in my opinion. And also, I will sprinkle a little bit of this. I don't know if you guys agree, but the advent of social media as well. When you mentioned about getting bored and the incredible amount of access to everybody's everything now with Instagram and all that, everybody's a model. All of a sudden, everybody's it's right in your face. You can't get away from it. I don't care if you just want to check the weather. Something gonna come down your feed, and it's somebody offering this, offering. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's readily, it's so accessible, and it's so easy to get distracted by everything that used to be sort of a mystery is just so it's just regular life now. So that again, not an excuse to cheat or do anything against your mate or spouse, but man, it's tough out there now because you just can open your phone and see 7,000 different women in 7,000 different positions, poses, toes, breasts, whatever you like, you can get it. You know what I mean? So it's tough, man. But again, back to the foundation of communication. If you can keep that solid, you should be fine because there's no reason to go looking for something else when you with your presumed mate, love of your life that you shouldn't be able to work out right there at home. So I definitely agree with that.
That's true.
Good stuff. Sharita.
Man, you got people on here I can't argue with. I can't argue against. We all think the same. I think why our Gen X marriages failing. Just like the market said. I mean, information is social media age of Aquarius. We're in the information age. Women and men, but women now have like way more access to information, which gives them options and the power to choose. As I've taken us back over the history of kind of what happened with us, and when there was a time when we did not have those freedoms. Women, we came to the conclusion that we've been tricked about who we are and who we should be. And now society is set up such that women can now make choices. We don't have to stay in horrible marriages. So now, we can leave just like men can leave. So, and also, like, just to mention with the communication, as a woman, I have to speak from that point of view, but there's much to be desired in that department when it comes to men. Okay. It's the most men, not you, DeMarcus, though, not you or Troy. Y'all different. And my husband as well. He's not bad. We got some room to grow, but it's no secret that women tend to be superior communicators. And that's mostly because we have different brain structure and wiring than men. For the most part, men, y'all don't want to hear nothing we got to say half the time. Right? Tell the truth, shame the devil. Communication is like huge for us, but we don't get it enough. Which is why women got to commune a lot with each other, because men, y'all do things differently. Now, I want to add to that sex, despite popular opinion, sex is really, and I'm going to speak some real hardcore truth here. And again, ladies, if this does not apply to you and the shoe, if the shoe fit, wear it and buy a purse and a belt to go with it. But if it don't, then okay. Sex is often a chore for women, especially women who have children or they work. We're tired, we're drained. Sex for women is more mental and emotional than it is physical, right? We fall in love with the fantasy of you. For men, it's mostly physical. I mean, I'm not saying it's all physical, but it's mostly physical. And when we don't have the desire to roll over to the side or climb on top, it's looked at as a form of rejection. And now, our husband, our man, he feels, he has to go outside the home to fulfill all his needs and stuff. And, wives don't like that. And and I think you mentioned it, Bridget, that the infidelity and things like that creep in. So where do we begin to like reconcile all of this? I have no idea.
So if I got this right, Gen X ain't nothing but some cheaters. That's what y'all trying to say. Like it ain't. Is there anything? If y'all have to rack in y'all brain, is there anything other than cheating, like
Seriously.
specific to the Gen X that's maybe different than what millennials or boomers are experiencing?
I think millennials are more open about their sexuality. And I mean, you got, especially, I mean, if you're listening to the music that's out here now, I heard one of the rappers like, my girlfriend got a girlfriend, and everybody is this fluid, right? But Gen Xers, we're on that line of, we were like, in that age range where we were young enough to remember what it was like to have that traditional nuclear family. There was some chastity there where women was like, oh no, you had to do. But then at the same time, we were going through this other phase and of liberation with things. And so our generation was caught, I think, right there smack in the middle of, two things here. So the millennials, they got a little taste of, oh, I seen, my mom was doing this on her by herself and on her own, and daddy was doing his thing and what. So they are like, anything goes right now. And a lot of times it's unfortunate, but the fathers are not in the home, even more so than when it was when I was coming up, So it's a real epidemic right now. And that's why I think a lot of these millennials and Gen Zers, they're so fluid with everything because there was no model structure there for them to follow. But they have untamed energy out here, and that's not good. That is scary. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing now. If you look at them, they don't even respect Gen Xers or the elders anymore. But that's a whole nother podcast, Mel.
Yeah. You guys have anything to add to that, or now we can move forward?
I was going to say, Mel, I think you may remember me saying what Sharitha said about women feeling like sex is a chore. That was on our very first podcast. Yeah. I think and I'm not trying to blame everything on men, but a lot of times, especially if a woman is working, she's coming home and then she's cooking, she's trying to clean, she's trying to get ready for the next day, and then all of a sudden the man wants sex. Men need to realize that foreplay starts before the bedroom. And in order for a woman not to feel like sex is a chore, you gotta kind of, if she's tired, you can get her in the mood with, if she's in the kitchen cooking, just go up behind her and kiss her on the neck. Do something, just lead into it. Not just as soon as you get in the bed, you climbing all on. That's
I will say, Bridget, I definitely want to be on that panel when we get into that, because I can speak on that quite a bit too.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Okay.
Because I agree with you 1,000,000%. It's a lost art of, people understanding that it's not just climb on top of somebody and and then roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah.
No doubt. But we'll say that for a later date. Let's go to our next question here. So a Statista survey in the U.S. revealed that 27% of the respondents didn't want to get married in 2017. Millennials, Gen Zs, are rapidly losing interest in marriage. Now, these are y'all kids. These are y'all children. What role does Gen X have to play in this? We're going to start with DeMarcus.
Well, yeah, I will. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, and also Sharitha was kind of talking about it just now. It's just a shift in the times. You know what I mean? It's like the baby boomer time back in grandma time and all that is a different situation. It's like, yeah, you get married, nobody asks no questions. That's just how it is. The shift started happening some with Gen X, where we doing a little bit more independent stuff. You still got people with 1 foot in, 1 foot out as far as their beliefs with marriage and everything. And now these millennials, it's just wide open. You know what I mean? It's like you got, no disrespect, because I love everybody, but you got all these different, genders and different things, and it's just a wide open, wild west out here now. So it's a free thinker's paradise right now, and I think that enables everybody to make some different decisions that some of us other generations may not agree with, or we may not can see their point of view, but it's the times they're living in, the times they're growing up in, so that affects it greatly. So to me, it's just a shift in time, and whatever generation comes after the millennials, God bless them, who knows what's going to be going down, you know what I mean? So that's just how it is.
Nice. Sharitha.
Oh man, that is hilarious. But yes, so true. What was the question? What role do we play or something? And they're losing
Right.
interest. I think, I guess, again, from this woman's point of view, we know what we experienced and how it makes us feel. And so I think our children kind of look at that and they see what happens with us. We don't really give much credit to just how much our children observe. They're sponges. And even though they don't say anything, and that's the one thing too about this generation, because we didn't have all of the technology and things and phones and social media, we were forced to kind of talk and learn to communicate. This generation don't. My son could be, the oldest son could be in the same house with me and want to send me a text, and he's sitting on the couch across I'm like, boy, you gonna talk to me? So there's no communication to really let us know, or feedback mechanism to let us know that they are observing and watching and taking in what we're going through and dealing with. So what we as women do, we often encourage, our children or our sisters and our daughters and our nieces to learn to stand, on their own. Okay, stand on your own. You can want a man or a husband if you want, but not because you need to. And I think also women in this generation with Gen Z and stuff are recognizing that men deep down want or need companionship and sex and family or whatever, but don't necessarily want to hear or respect our feelings and emotions. And it can go both ways too. We're now discovering that most men, not all, as we've seen here on you guys on this panel, and some of us near and dear to us, not all, they just don't have the capacity to relate to us on that level that we want and need. So it becomes, this tug of war. But the younger generation does not want to. They don't want to play games. It's like they don't have the patience, right, or the tolerance for it. Gen Xers, we have it a little bit, but they have been watching us growing up, and they're like, I don't want to be bothered with that. And I know that to be the case because I've spoken with quite a few millennials and Gen Zers, and they're like, no, there's like, I saw what you went through. I've witnessed this, I've witnessed that. I don't need that. I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to put up with it. So that's what I think.
Good stuff. Bridget.
I've talked to different Gen Xers, millennials, and I'm going to speak on the men's side. The men don't want the responsibility of a relationship. And I'm like, the responsibility. But I guess it's a huge responsibility, and they just don't want that. And then the women, it's like they want it, but they don't want the full commitment. Yeah, they don't want the full commitment, So I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I get it. I get it, but it's not okay. I'm not going to say it's not how I feel because I think I'm on the fence a little bit. Like I have one of my guy friends, he's traveling the world. He said, Bridget, I wouldn't be able to do that if I had a wife and kids at home. If I, he's just going from country to country to country to country. And he's trying to just figure out where he wants to live. And then he said he'll settle down. I have another friend that he's just doing everything he wants to do. He said, I don't want to have to tell someone where I'm going or say, hey, is this okay? Or, he said, I just want to get up and do it. I don't want to have to think about somebody else's feelings. So that's what's going on. I think people are not wanting, they just don't want the responsibility. They don't want to have to think about someone else's feelings before they make a decision for themselves.
Gotcha. Any responses to anyone's take? So I have a question, and it's feel free to not answer if you don't want. Do you personally take any responsibility for either in DeMarcus and Sharitha's case for your children's want to be married, or in Bridget, in your case, maybe the millennials or Gen Zs around you and their want to be married? Do you take that personal?
Let me make sure I'm understanding the question. You're saying, do I feel responsible for whatever decision my kids end up making as far as that's concerned?
Correct. And I would say their desire to be married.
No, I don't. No, I don't take the responsibility, but I would understand if they drew inspiration from what they saw or what they perceive my relationship to be, and say, "Hey, I want to try to have what Daddy and Mama got." Now of course that could be predicated on what it is Mama and Daddy got, because of course if they saw me and Mama fighting all the time and throwing stuff at each other, then they may probably say, I don't want what Mama and Daddy got. So I think it's gonna be their perspective of what they saw, and if they feel it was genuine, and that could influence what they decide to do. I don't feel like I'm directly trying to influence them with the way I'm living my life. And I would love for my son to see how I treat his mom, and think that's the right way to go about it. But at the same time, I also got to understand, trust me, I've tried. I can't control another person, not even your kids. They're going to do what they're going to do. So, but I hope I've laid out enough positive vibes and examples that they would follow it. But again, I can't control that at the end of the day.